So this is more evidence, more proof that the whole King Von murder was a setup, which I'm learning from everything I've seen. I think two things could be true. Number one, somebody died from their own actions. And number two, somebody set it up. I think both things can be true in the same scenario. So we're going to watch it. We're going to break it down. We're going to see what's going on. I got my donkey. I hope you got yours. It's rolled up in grabba leaf. I hope yours is too. Hold on, wait. Let me go grab this. What you call it? Where is crushed at? Ain't got no fan. Give me some. There we go. Man, I got boxes of this. I ain't run out of this for 2 years. Specifically, I got this King hemp wrap, right? Your hemp paper, and then I got a little bit of this crushed going on. This little crush with me. Come on, man.
How is it that when a celebrity gets shot in front of his armed security, the security doesn't fire back? Right. Why did King Von, at the last minute, decide to go to the lounge he would eventually be killed at when it wasn't part of the original plan? Why was the man he attacked seemingly caught off guard despite walking right past King Von's entourage?
Nobody want to talk about that too. When you point that out, it makes perfect sense. Why, bro? You see all these people, bro. Some of these faces, you know some of these faces. You've been around these people. You see all these people. It's 50 people standing right here. It's 50 niggas. You see them? And at this point, it was known that Quando and King Von, OTF, and NBA, they had smoke. Everybody knew this. They knew it for sure. They already been dissing and saying this and saying that and all that. And Von was already doing something with what's the Youngboy baby mama name?
And did NBA Youngboy really tell Von that when he killed him, he would show the world his body?
Hey, ask about YB.
You talking about the voice message that YB sent?
Oh, yeah.
The man said, "When I kill you, I'ma show the world your body. When I kill you, I'ma show the world." I said, "Man, who is that?" He said, "Man, that's the nigga Youngboy."
Now, for the past 5 years, the question of what happened to King Von seemed pretty cut and dry.
Right.
Rappers die all the time, and this event happened to be caught on camera.
Right.
And it seemed pretty clear. He punched a man in a stand your ground state, and he lost his life for it.
Right.
Von had made a statement, as well as people in his entourage, that he wasn't cool with NBA Youngboy or any of his associates. So how did Von and Youngboy's associate end up at the same hookah lounge on the same night at the same time?
I don't know.
One group had just come from a nightclub, and the other group had just come from a video shoot.
See, now, the question I have more, after all the videos I done watched in the past few weeks, I got more of the question of not was it a setup, but who set it up and how. Could have been Dirk, but also could have been Youngboy. But it also could have been his manager. I want to put y'all on to some of the easiest money you'll ever make in your life. Freecast.com is a website that allows you to literally get paid hundreds of dollars just for playing video games on your phone. All you need is an email and a password. Follow the directions on each of the campaigns and you can earn at least $100. My personal favorite game to play was Sunrise Island, and when I clicked on it, they had a $370 bonus. I got $370 just for playing a video game on my phone. On average, it only takes about 17 minutes for most people to start earning money on freecash.com. So if you need some free, easy, extra money, go to freecash.com, click the QR code right here, or go in the description below and start getting that bag. You did? But it also could have been Vonnie. You see what I'm saying? Now, if the feds get involved, I feel like that's the only way we're gonna really know the truth. If them people come, FBI, open up! Boy.
Could it have really been a coincidence that they crossed paths? I'm sure as many of you have seen recently, Vonnie, a very strange associate of the whole OTF camp, his father has recently come out with several allegations, all after a leaked phone call where Vonnie was seemingly admitting that he was going to take a plea deal and make sure that he got less time than Lil Durk and the other guys on the Lil Pad murder from Beverly Hills. Now, Vonnie's father has made some very heinous accusations, but the fact that it comes from his own father, I can't just dismiss it as all lies, especially since he himself explains that the main factor behind him airing out all of this business is money. which, although petty, is very believable. Vonnie, a man from Detroit, whose only connection with these gang members out of Chicago is that his father was close friends with King Von's father. But
Right.
Von's father has been dead since 2005, nearly 20 years before Von died. But for some reason, Vonnie had weaseled his way in between two of the biggest artists coming into 2020. He's seen in several videos carrying the money and making big purchases for both Lil Durk and King Von, a man who's not even from Chicago. And in the immediate aftermath of
I ain't know that. I ain't know he went from Chicago.
Von's death, several allegations came out that people close to him were stealing from him, such as security footage showing men seemingly running from his home carrying items that they didn't come in with, and then there was talk of money missing out of the safety deposit boxes. And Vonnie's father claims that at least the safety deposit box was his son's doing. Now, Vonnie's father claims that Lil Tim, the man who is credited with shooting King Von after he attacked Quando Rondo, was paid months before the incident even took place. But is he telling the truth? He claims that his son is the reason for the entire hookah lounge incident where Von attacked Quando Rondo and ended up getting shot. Just based on how the people around Von spoke of him, it appears that Von was a very predictable guy. Even before he was a superstar, in Chicago, it was pretty much known that if he said he was going to do something to you when he caught you, that's exactly what was going to happen. And he made it clear, as well as an associate of his, Lil Reese, that when he caught Quando Rondo, something was going to happen. The plan after they left the first club was for everybody to go back to the Airbnb they had in Atlanta. But of course, that's not what happened. Vonnie's father is somehow insinuating that Vonnie is the reason that Von rerouted his caravan to the Monaco Hookah Lounge. So just looking at
and that's when it get kind of like spooky, because I'm one of them people, I don't necessarily believe in coincidences. Now I don't know what the reason was. It could have been human reasons, or it could have just been the day that God said he was gonna come take, you feel me? It was just time for Von to go ahead. I don't know. All I know is I don't think it's a coincidence that the plan was to go back to the Airbnb, and you just so happen. Do you know how many hookah lounges is in Atlanta, Georgia, my guy? Do you know how many clubs, strip clubs, hookah lounges, bars? Do you know how much of that? That's bro. It's come on, bro. It's a hookah lounge on every block in Atlanta, bro. Small, big, tall, small, all that. Bro. You see what I'm saying? So I find it very hard to believe that the original plan was to go back to the Airbnb, but it just so happened that he ended up pulling up to the same place that Quando Rondo just so happened to be standing outside, not in line to go in, not on the way out, not getting in the car leaving. Quando just sitting there, standing in the parking lot, just standing there. That's not
from
weird
the perspective of somebody that was trying to set up a murder. Now, knowing that Georgia is a stand your ground state, and Von being a hothead, having him pull up to the location of someone that he says he's going to attack when he sees them seems like the perfect bait to get him shot.
Right.
But what would have been the reason for anyone wanting Von dead? The first person that was blamed in any kind of conspiracy for this was Lil Durk, who, at the time, was not legally allowed to be around King Von due to a case that they had involving an attempted murder and a robbery.
Right.
And mysteriously, Lil Durk seemed to go live at the same time that King Von was getting shot.
See what I'm saying? And that's what I said the last video. Every single time, every time one of Lil Durk ops die, every time who else, bro? It was FBG Cash. Every time some of these people die, he just happens to be on live.
Now, I've seen at least one guy, King AK-47, say that this looked like something that was going to establish an alibi. Now, the question is, why did Lil Durk have Vonnie around him? For him to get such a prominent position, despite not knowing any of them, it seems like some agreement would have had to be made, especially with Lil Durk, since he was seen carrying money for Lil Durk, and he is the alleged money man on the murder for hire case. That Durk is facing right now. So, the events at the Monaco Hookah Lounge. I was completely unaware that Von even had armed security there because the only three people that were reported to have fired back were Louis, Slutty, and BJ.
You ain't going nowhere. I saw him shoot.
Louis and Slutty ended up being shot by undercover cops who were sitting at the scene watching the entire thing, which is also very suspicious.
That's very weird too. Why is undercover police just sitting outside of this random hookah lounge?
And one of Von's associates can even be heard telling Von's security, "Kill him," as if he was wondering why the security guard had done nothing. And Vonnie, who
That's why he said, "Hey, gang, what the? No, for real though. That's what I would have been. Yeah. That would have been me. I would have been like, what are you doing? Kill him! You feel me? I'm like, what I'm sure he talking to security. Like, what are you doing? You in Atlanta, Georgia, bro. This is all you get paid for to do, bro. This man on the floor bleeding out, gang. It's time to.
the security guard had done nothing. And Vonnie, who again is not even from Chicago, couldn't have had a close bond with any of them, as out of everything his father said, that is the most likely, that he was only there for money. And being the money man, he would probably know how easy it would be for him to steal money out of King Von's security deposit.
Security deposit box, even for you to be like, hey, Von give you 30,000. Hey, bro, you only gave me 27. For real? Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. I don't know what you to deal with the other. You be high, boy. You probably just spent whole time he pocketed the 3,000. And see, I didn't know that. I knew that Vonnie's dad was cool with King Von's dad. You get what I'm saying? Like, I knew that that's how they knew each other. But I didn't put two and two together that Vonnie was from Detroit. And they really don't know each other like that. But he got this top high ranking in the whole OTF camp. He got this top ranking status where he just handling all the money. It sound like he only there for money. He ain't grow up with these people. So of course, logically thinking, if I ain't grow up with you, I already know.
Deposit boxes.
I don't even think Dirk. Honestly, I don't even think Dirk. You gotta think about it, bro. Dirk is not from O Block. Dirk is from 60 something in Normal. You know what I'm saying? Dirk is from Lamron. Do your homework on King Drive to Normal. Like, I think it's Normal Boulevard or Drive or whatever it is. Do your homework on that's a decent way, gang. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, you know, like O Block is over here. That's Inglewood. Normal is Inglewood almost, pretty much. That's far, bro. That's a good way west, bro. Like, if you go from O Block and you go through the park and then you go down, is that Cottage? You go down Cottage, you'll get to Normal. And then you got to get over to like 69th or 67th, wherever they from. Dirk ain't grow up with Von, from my knowledge. So it sounds like a lot of these people are only here for money. And when you have people who are only here for money, but they also in the streets and they not no college graduates that's financial, you know what I'm saying? That's when you can, nigga.
As he had probably made several trips to the bank with King Von depositing his money. And regardless of if you believe that King Von was some type of serial killer or not, it's more than likely that he would have been serving 25 to life for something had he still been alive today. And everyone around him knew this. The FBI say he was their lead suspect in a murder from 2014. And as I said, one of Lil Durk's lawyers said on the Atlanta News that he would be the one charged in the Atlanta case had he still been alive, not Lil Durk. So somebody that wasn't his friend in the first place, and especially someone that was heartless, would have no problem getting him out the way for a quick come up. And the allegation of him being told that when he was killed they were going to show the world his body just can't be a coincidence. Only certain people are allowed in a room to take a picture like that. So for someone to jeopardize their job and likely freedom, there had to be some type of money involved. Nobody just did this for fun. Now, I know you guys thought that we were already talking about conspiracy theories, but we still haven't gotten to the actual conspiracy theory pushed by Vonnie's father. Now, in the interviews he did with both Trench's News and DJ Academics, Vonnie's father said two things that honestly it's hard to know if he's saying this from what he actually witnessed or if he's just been reading and watching conspiracy theories and he might think he's connecting the dots himself. But he says that in his talks with King Von, he says that King Von told him that he knew he only had 3 or 4 years to do his music, and he did not fully elaborate on that, but he says that King Von had some type of meeting, and after this meeting, King Von kind of told him that he knew that he had a limited amount of time. And not only did he connect the music industry with Israel, but he also connected NBA Youngboy's involvement with Youngboy's subsequent pardon that he received from Donald Trump. Now listen, I am always open to a conspiracy theory, and I'm definitely always open to hear a testimony from somebody who was around a certain situation.
Right.
But if I'm being honest, I don't see much of a connection between King Von and NBA Youngboy's pardon.
Yeah,
Do
I
I
don't
think
see
it was
nothing about
strange
that.
that YB was pardoned by the President of the United States, who's likely never even heard of him? Yes, I think that was very strange, and I do think there was some type of agenda behind that pardon. And like I said,
sure.
the autopsy picture is a very strange thing to
I
come
didn't
out.
know his autopsy
Now, I've
picture
seen a
came
gang
out.
member die, and one of his ops with a connection at the hospital have an autopsy picture come out. But that doesn't mean it's something that happens often, and that definitely doesn't mean that it's something that somebody can easily come by.
Right.
Because you have to be a certain staff member to even get in a room like that. So what would make Wavani's father saying true? Well, I know he's not getting paid much to go on these interviews and say the things that he's saying. When he speaks, he genuinely sounds like he's speaking out of remorse and that he's had to sit by and watch something. Because he and Von's father were close friends.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
probably,
why many
it's
people
probably
thought
eating him. He looked jacked. That's why I thought that was him, because I'm like, this picture looked just like dude that was on the screen. But that's probably what might be eating him alive. He like, what the fuck, bro? That was my man. That was my man. That's his son. He probably seen Von when he was a baby. You know what I'm saying?
that Vonnie was King Von's cousin, but they are in fact not related. So I'm a stand by that there has to be some truth in what Vonnie's father is saying. And I heard the phone call where Vonnie was saying that he wants to get less time than Lil Durk, which is a guy that let him handle millions of dollars. So at the very least, we can prove that Vonnie is a slimy character, and that accusing him of setting up anybody would not be out of the ordinary for him. So in the end, it's clear that King Von didn't just die because he attacked someone in a stand your ground state. A witness on the scene who doesn't have any social media presence, just some random guy that was caught on a police body cam, even said that it looked like a setup.
These motherfuckers just pulled up. They got jumping out the car. Like, they knew it was set up before they got down.
And although King Von could have avoided
even the Quando Rondo, it looked like Quando just sitting there waiting for whatever. He pacing back and forth. Do that even sound like something that's going like Quando Rondo is the only rapper out of his little, you feel me, his little crew, whatever they call themselves. He the only rapper. What rapper? He wasn't due to perform at this hookah lounge. He didn't have an appearance at this hookah lounge. Like I said earlier in the video, he wasn't in line to go in. He ain't just come out. He wasn't getting no food. He wasn't eating. He wasn't smoking. He wasn't drinking. He ain't had no girls around. He wasn't doing nothing. He just so happened to be in this random parking lot in Atlanta where it just so happened to be some undercover police outside. And it just so happened that he's standing outside the car, pacing back and forth for I don't know how long. And then it just so happened that King Von and 700 of his homies pulled up to the same spot. And it just so happened that King Von hop out and punch on Quando Rondo. Then it just so happened that Lil Tim get out and shoot King Von. And then it just so happened that nobody do nothing to Lil Tim after he did it. What the The rapper usually is the one that stay in the car. The rapper is usually the one that wait until his homies go in first, or wait until his homies ready to go. You get what I'm saying?
This entire situation himself might not be in a hothead. I do believe that somewhere somebody was pulling strings to make sure things went exactly how they went. But that's all I got for today, man.
I don't believe in all. Now it's starting to be too many coincidences. And every time I watch one of these videos, I see a new clip. I learn something new. I ain't know Vonnie dad was from. I ain't know Vonnie was from Detroit. I ain't know Vonnie. I'm thinking Vonnie grew up with them the whole time, like. But then he say it, and I'm thinking like Vonnie ain't got no old blockchain. Vonnie wasn't never around. He ain't got no old pictures with these people. How you get in this? Boy.